So nice. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you. This is the first time we're talking.
Yes, yes, I love that. I really love that. And I'm happy to have you here, and I hope you're doing better.
Thank you. Yes, I
Yes,
was down with the flu the last time we were supposed to
yes,
talk. Yes.
yes. That's yeah, I saw that, and I said, oh, I was trying to figure out how to send you good wishes, but then, well, I got complicated.
Well, thank you for remembering.
No, no, no. So you are in Singapore.
Yes, I'm in Singapore. It's a Friday night
Mm,
after the Christmas, I guess, official holiday.
yes.
So a little bit quieter than usual, which is nice.
Ah, yes. I saw that. Yes, also around here. It's well, I'm not working today, but I have family around, and
Nice.
yeah, still in festivities until Monday when they leave back home.
Great. Are you in
So
Barcelona or
yes, I'm next to Barcelona.
next to Barcelona? Okay.
Yes, 20
One of
minutes
my
away.
one of my favorite regions. So
Yes.
yes,
Yes, it's a very nice place around here. Yes, I'm like you. I'm global.
that's great.
Because
Yeah.
yes, I've seen you. You've been all around.
Yeah, it's I really enjoy learning from different places, different cultures, different peoples, different traditions, and always learning, sharing, growing, hopefully.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I really enjoy it.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love that. It's it's like you're saying, it's the growing wherever you go to well, learn from each from every culture and taking in from them also, no, and also giving from you to wherever you are. That's so important and so beautiful. That's we are really lucky to be able to move around, no, or work in different places and just growing with all the cultures.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, yes.
That I think that global mindset is really needed these days, especially
Hmm.
with all the conflicts that are going on.
Hmm.
So yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yes, yes. And you've been in Singapore for long?
I've been in Singapore for actually quite a long time. Actually longer than any other place that
Yes.
I've been. So I've been here for 20 years.
Ah, nice, like me.
Almost exactly. 2004, I moved to Singapore from San Francisco Bay Area.
Hmm.
So I was lucky enough to be part of the first wave of the first dot-com wave, and got into the tech industry back in 2000, no, back in 98. Um,
Hmm.
and so ever since then, I've been essentially part of the tech industry and moved to Singapore 20 years ago to help a multinational company based in San Francisco to expand to Southeast Asia.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Nice. You have numbers like me or years. I'm also 20 years now
Okay.
in Barcelona. And I started in IT in
Hmm.
98.
Okay. Similar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you use the same use no numbers. I say, okay,
Yeah.
well.
Where were you before?
I was in New York.
Oh, New York. Okay.
Yes, I was living for years in New York. And I was working for UNICEF
Oh,
headquarters.
interesting.
Yes, yes. And then I decided to move away into Europe, into Mediterranean, and that's when I fell in Barcelona. No, I
Nice.
felt yes, it's nice. It's I felt it my home. I never felt it before, so it was very and very nice change, a very good change.
And are you originally Spanish from Spain or?
No, I'm Swiss. My
Okay.
father was Swiss German, and my mom
Okay.
is Cuban, Canary
Okay.
Island, but Cuban. And yes, so they met in Venezuela. I was born there, but the first year we moved to Italy. So I grew up in Italy until I was 7, and then Switzerland for years, and then Venezuela, German school, and then
Wow.
university, and traveling and working around a lot.
So you started your international experience at a young age.
Yeah, yeah, yes, very young. Yes,
Yeah,
the flying a lot since I'm 3 months old or something like that. Yes.
sure. Yeah, we share that. We share that in common as well.
Mm.
I'm of Iranian or Persian heritage.
Mm.
Was born there
Yes.
and was taken to the UK when I was 8 months old. So similar
Ah.
to you, yeah. And grew up for 8 years in the UK in the London area. Then then back to Iran for a few years where I started to learn the language,
Mm-hmm.
Farsi, and then a series of circumstances. We ended up in Athens and in Greece, and then in India, in New Delhi,
Oh,
India,
wow.
um, back to Iran for a few years. Then I went to the US for my university studies. And so Boston, San Francisco, and then Singapore.
So yes, very
Yeah.
global and many languages and very different cultures, eh?
Many languages, but I'm disadvantaged. I only know two. So I can understand a bit of Greek, but not,
Yes,
not fluent. Yeah,
they're very complete, different, all of them.
that's right.
Yeah, but understanding them, it's already a lot. Mhm. So yes, and today in Singapore, you're what are you doing?
Um, so it's been an interesting story. I've been sort of independent for the last 3, 4 years.
Mhm.
And I guess the new term for that is, fractional. So I've been a fractional leader for the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, nice.
And I've learned a lot through being independent. Um, Prior to that, I was doing some venture building with larger companies, helping with both leadership mindset in terms of what it takes to launch new ventures in an established organization.
Mhm.
And then prior to that, I was involved in a series of my own startups as well as leading other startups. So I've been an entrepreneur for the last 15, 16 years. And that happened all after my sort of corporate and VC journey. So,
Mhm.
so I've done a little bit of a lot of different things, which is
Mhm.
what I like because I feel like putting myself out of my comfort zone allows me to learn more. Um, and yeah, so as of the last 4 or 5 years, I've been doing more work independently. And as of the last year, I've been really focused on two initiatives,
Mhm.
both of which are related. One is once I became fractional, I started to learn the pain points of the fractional leadership community, right? Everybody who's either by choice or by necessity become available as a fractional leader.
Mhm.
And now trying to figure out their path when they don't necessarily fit in a corporate environment anymore. And they don't necessarily want to start their own startup or company from scratch, right? So and oftentimes people, leaders in their late 40s, 50s, and 60s find themselves in this second arc of life, if you will. And there's a lot of self-realization, growth, and other things that happen, but there are also pain points. So as of the last year, I've been focusing on helping with solve some of those pain points for this community of leaders. And a few months ago launched a company called Fractional First.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm primarily focused on, which in a broader sense, I kind of think about it as leadership facilitation, development, and growth. And then another initiative, which I'm working with two other co-founders, which is focused on, again, helping leaders who might be in a transition point, but maybe they have a full-time job, maybe they want more out of their leadership journey than they're getting because they've gotten to a point in life where they're asking what's next.
Mm-hmm.
And so that initiative is all about bringing experiences to leaders so that they can experience what perhaps a more conscious leader or aware leader might start to experience. And so so both of these are very related topics, but both of them are things that I'm really passionate about and working in parallel.
Mm-hmm. That's so nice. And then I love when you say fractional leader. I didn't hear it before, but
Oh, really?
no, never. But it
Okay.
makes a lot of sense. No, it's also what some call polymath, no? Or
Yeah, I think polymath, at least in my understanding, refers to somebody who's good at, at a certain level of proficiency across a number of different functions or topics
mm,
and can converse across different topics in a very at a high level. Whereas the fractional movement, which is now quite popular in the US and starting to become more popular in US and Southeast Asia, is really about how to fractionalize a leader's time
mhm.
and get them to be involved in a number of companies as opposed to one,
Okay.
because maybe their rates are such that one company can't afford them full time, and maybe they don't need to be involved full time.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so, how do you fractionalize a leader's time and give that leader maybe a little bit more variety and a little bit more freedom in terms of schedule, and have them create impact at multiple organizations because they are at the top of their game in their function or in their industry, and they've accumulated 20 years of experience, they've got the connections, they've got the coaching mentality, and so they
Mm.
can really start to ignite a lot of other, perhaps the younger generation of entrepreneurs.
Yes, yes, I like that. I see myself in that, so it resonates with me. Yes, because at the end you have all this experience of so many years in different companies, and you have started to specialize in a certain topic, in a certain area, because you start knowing more of who you are, and when you become more conscious now, when you become more self-aware of how you're impacting and how you are, while the world is impacting you, and what you love to create through all this. So you start doing works in different places to support and empower others through your experience, and giving the same commitment and giving the same effort and everything to each place, because it already depends on you. It doesn't depend on the others. It's you, who you are, and what you love to create, and how you lead, that impacts each of the areas through your
Yeah,
inspiration and empowerment, or whatever you do that empowers others.
that's so well articulated because when I first started doing this, I was actually looking more externally. What is everybody else doing?
Mm.
And trying to mimic best practices. But over time, I learned perhaps the hard way that it's less about what everyone else is doing, and it's more about what's innate to you. And so that inward journey of figuring out, what do I find joy in? What would I do even if I didn't get paid for it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then figuring out how to articulate that and translate into what's needed in the real world and the outside world is the second step. And so I feel that as a best practice that worked for me, right? And what's nice about it is that everybody's journey, as you said, is different. It's really
Yeah.
about you and your unique value add, or your ikigai, to use the
Mm-hmm.
Japanese term.
Mm-hmm. The ikigai. Yeah, I call this true leadership, because it has, for me, it's love, uniqueness, and co-creation. No? Because we all
Mm,
are love. It's what unites us, and love comes from living from the heart and listening to your heart. And when you do that, you immediately connect with everyone else. No, you love yourself, you respect yourself, you value yourself, and through that, you do with everyone else, because you know that we all are the same. But at the same time, through that, through living from the inside out, and you're in through the love that you are, you start uncovering your uniqueness. No? Because we all are unique. We all have experiences that define us in a different way, and we all have beliefs and so many things that make us unique. Especially makes us unique with who we are. At the end, we have skills and gifts. No? That when we start observing ourselves and being aware, and then you start uncovering skills and gifts that you can apply for others, no? To others, and inspire and empower them. Because since we are love, what you do, you what you are, you give, no? And then you receive. And that's then the co-creation part, because the
mm,
co-creation is you become whole, integral, sovereign, and through this wholeness, you co-create with other people, and respecting their wholeness, and living in the present moment, co-creating together into whatever is to come, but with a vision maybe, but not a goal and not an objective, because goals and objectives comes through collaboration, which are limiting us. When you
yeah,
said that it comes from the doing, co-creation comes from the being. So in wholeness, you are co-creating something bigger than yourselves.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm curious. Most of our education in schools are so left-brained, right? And so, how did you get to this point where you think about things holistically? Um, there are not that many people who look at this. I think there are not that many coaches who are sort of integral coaches, if you will, right? And so I'm just curious when I hear this, like how people got to that point.
Yeah, my case, I think experience life has shown me.
Okay.
I moved from well, I've always been someone very, as a kid, I was very shy and
Mm,
insecure. My father died when I was 15, so I was doing everything at home not to hurt my mom and anyone. So I was like the good girl. And then I was in a relationship some years that um, where, well, I lost myself. I was giving myself to him, and I didn't know who I was. And one day
mm,
I woke up, and I was in New York, and I said, I love myself. If the other ones don't, I will love myself, and I will know who I am, because I don't know who I am. And it's when I moved to Barcelona and redid my life. And then in that move also, I learned that if you want to change something, start with yourself,
mm.
and never judge anyone else, because you're walking your shoes. And listen to your inner voice, because that's the only one that is able to guide you. So there, it was 2004, and 2004. And in 2012, I started social enterprise.
Mm,
And and I wasn't fitting in whenever I went to networking events, and I wasn't fitting in, because for me the most important thing is the person behind the project. And wherever I went, I was asked, what do you do? What's your project? And said, yeah, but who I am, or who are the other ones? And I also created I don't know, I did 16 business models because my business continued changing because I was changing. I was evolving, so was my project was evolving. And I saw, and when I was going around, I saw many people that were like me, they were lost and they didn't fit in and they were thinking that it was their fault. And I was saying, no, no, we are just different. We are not social entrepreneurs. We are not people that have that find the problem and have a solution for the problem. No, we are people who are empowering others, helping others through our experience. For the other ones not to go through through what we did, because we learned something out of that, and we are helping others not to go through that. Well, so we are nurturing others, and when we nurture others, we get nurtured. And that's why our projects keep changing. And so I created the movement, the Positive Impact Movement, and at the beginning it was a community. And with the pandemic, I did a lot of conversations, and we learned a lot there through co-creation. I was experimenting a lot, and it served me. I closed the community 2000, I don't remember, 22 or something like that, September, because for me, I was turning to be a community leader, which I'm not, having to do questions, all the things. And I said, no, it's not a community, it's a movement, it's open. So, well, through observation and practicing, I always say it's exploring, experiencing, and practicing to be who you are and create what you love. It's something you said before also. Exploration is going to the edge, test it, see, experience how it feels. If you like it, you practice. If you're not, you move a little bit to the right, and then you explore, experience, and practice. And life is about that everywhere. It's really to go to the edges, to continue growing and knowing more about who you are and what you love to create. And then just practice and do it, no? So that's how I am where I am today. The co-creation, the conversations came from exploration.
Yeah.
And experiencing and practicing, because at the beginning I was so shy. I mean, today I'm living in now, and I'm connecting heart to heart when I'm in the conversation.
Right.
And I love the unknown. It really makes me grow, nurtures me. And it's always beautiful co-creations, always.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that's the short story. Not so
No,
short, but
thank you for sharing. Yeah, fascinating.
but yes. And through that, now you learn so much, because I remember when I started the community, I was always saying, dare to be who you are. Dare, because there was some fear, no? So you dare because of fear and exploration. But once you are who you are, you are who you are. You don't dare anymore. There's no fear. And when you practice to be in the now, to really express from the heart, to co-create everywhere, not only in these conversations, outside in everything you do, there's no fear anymore. There's just joy from living in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Yes.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. No, that's fascinating.
Thank you. And you also have an experience. That's why you do what you do today,
Yeah.
because you've gone through that. You're a fractional leader.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to show it to other ones, no?
Yes. I've also, what's interesting about me is I used to be the most logical person I knew, because I was trained as a mathematician, and my father's a mathematician. And so it was in our genes. And so I used to think that, I guess, intellectual capability was where it's at. And then over time, I started to realize the limitations, even though that intellectual power is a gift. If one muscle or one, you exercise one muscle all the time and the other muscles are weak, you create imbalance. So perhaps as a younger leader, I was quite imbalanced in that sense. And I guess when I became a founder and entrepreneur, the stresses of building one of the earlier stage, one of the sort of building a company in the earlier Southeast Asia ecosystem where the ecosystem was quite nascent. The stresses got to me, so I got injured doing some sports. So my doctor suggested doing some yoga, and so I was exposed to yoga, but more than the physical component, right? The more the self exploration.
Yeah.
And the more I did the physical practice, because it was a gentle practice and I could do it with my injury, the more I became intrigued about the self-awareness part of yoga, which oftentimes is not emphasized especially in Western countries.
Yeah.
So I and then because I had the Persian heritage and the Persian background, and I have a gift of being able to read the literature and the poetry, and it's also quite spiritual in many ways, and a lot of the sort of Persian poetry talks about self-exploration and self-awareness, and existential questions about where do we come from and where do we go, and so forth. I started to perhaps connect some dots in my own head between what I needed to work on as a person, as a leader, perhaps more the emotional side, perhaps more the relating side, the connection side, the being in the now, the not worrying about the future as much, getting out of survival mode into sort of growth mode kind of mindset. And for me, it started to come together. And I found it gave me a lot of clarity and calm. And so, and what I like to do is try to explain what I've now discovered in different ways. So how do I explain it from a scientific perspective for the person who's more inclined towards science? How do I explain it from a human psychology perspective? How do I explain it from just an experiential perspective? And so that became my goal for me as maybe part of my self-exploration. And then I asked a coach I was working with at one point, what course or what would you recommend that is sort of the highest bang for the buck, so I could understand what you coaches do. And he recommended this course called Time to Think. And what was really fascinating about Time to Think, it's pretty much the same principles that I had been exploring in yoga, but taught in a completely different frame. But the underlying principles are the ones you talked about, which is co-creation, being in the present moment, treating people as whole, treating yourself as whole, respecting listening, essentially listening and asking incisive questions and things like that. So then this whole thing started to come together for me as well.
I think that everyone, once you start this inner journey of observation and by self-awareness, self-responsibility, because it takes effort to at the beginning, always this exploration and experiencing this part. What the practicing is really effort for yourself, in your responsibility to grow. But then I think we all, come to the same conclusions, you know, and we express it differently, but since we all are the same, it's so beautiful to see that uniqueness shows it in different ways, but it's the same thing. I was reading yesterday very quickly this Find Your Passion. It's a very short booklet. It's very, very nice, no? And especially I was reading it, and I was thinking of my niece. She's searching for a career, and she's really, I would say in her case, polymath in arts. So she doesn't know architecture, no, she will get bored. Fashion, she will, because she does everything, no? So many things. But I was reading that, and then I read it and say, okay, yes, that's all what I also think and do. And in one place he says, to find who you are and create what you love, you do this and this. And I said, that's how I say it. No, you know, at the end, it's once you tap into this universal well of wisdom, we all have it within. So the information is there for everyone, and it's the same because it's a universal source. It's how each of us expresses it. It's what makes it unique, you know. But at the end, it's the same universal source, the same wisdom we all have within. But it's so nice, no, that when it's what I love for people to know, no, everyone is limitless. Everyone has the true potential inside and their inner wisdom. So just trust and tap into it now, and listen into who you are inside and to your heart, and express from the heart. That then everything starts flowing out.
It's true. It's true. I think for me, and maybe for some other people, trusting that and trusting your intuition and your gut, and allowing yourself to experience and integrate takes a bit of practice, right? So that's where, yeah. So, and then being able to respect it and say, okay, this is leading me somewhere which is aligned with what I want to do, makes me happy. And wealth is not just about the financials. It's also, you know, measure it in joy and happiness and living your life to the fullest, to the extent you can.
Yes. And living your life to the fullest is this being in the moment and enjoying every moment, you know, and whatever you do, you know, whatever you are in that moment, just enjoy it and don't look back. It's done, no? And look, in the future will come through the choices you have today and what you're doing now in this moment. So that's and being love, I would say, no?
So how do you now split your time between sort of leadership and coaching and the other? You also
Full-time job.
Full-time. Okay, is that okay? How do you split your time between the two, and how do you view it?
Well, I work in IT, of course, and but in the last years I've been managing a team.
Okay.
No, and for me, what I do it also there because I guide them. I sit with them every 2 weeks, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever they require, and I just see what they love to, where they stand, what they feel. I coach them. I'm not a coach, but I counsel them or guide them and empower them so that they are motivated and so that they are doing something that really has a meaning for them. And then through that, the customers also love what they're doing. So I have integrated my leadership through leadership also at work.
Nice.
And then co-creation conversations, I have them in the evening or first thing in the morning or lunchtime or weekends. because it's something really that I love and nurtures me so much. And I grow with each conversation. I grow so much. I learn a lot from my guests like you. And so, yeah. And then, well, counseling, I do also in the middle.
Yes.
Yes. So, but well, I know changes come, and it's for me to become more fractional. So, so really to embody that, because I know everyone is a free bird, and I would love to really embody that part more, to be more free to be, and then not so boxed in the employment and things like that. So
Sounds good.
yes.
Yeah, I think this is a trend. More and more people are becoming more independent from a career perspective, and learning how to talk about the value they can add. And so it's interesting how sort of the future of work or the now of work is happening.
I love that. I love that. And it's about that. I think it's about we are free when we are who we are and create what we love. You know, wherever it is, also anywhere, at an employment, not employment. But for me, the future is to really be who you are. To be free means to be happy, you know, to be joyful with what you're doing, who you are being in the moment, and be honest, transparent, without any drama, nothing like that, because you don't have it anymore since you're in the now, no? So yeah, the future is in that, and then through the giving and receiving, through your uniqueness, you're showing others, and you're learning from others through their uniqueness. So it's a constant giving and receiving, that it's harmonious and it's in balance. And that's what I see. It's our new earth that we are co-creating now, in just by the being.
Beautiful.
So, Reza, I appreciate you. I really am very happy to be able to co-create with you, to have been able to be here, and for you also to be healthy back again into your feet.
Thank you. Yeah, no, likewise. I've really enjoyed this, and now I'm thinking, I'd love to talk to you also in future occasions um, about how we're doing what we're doing at both the Fractional First initiatives that I talked about, also about the conscious, and also the Conscious Leadership Initiative, and maybe co-create with you in those areas as well, in a manner that makes sense. Because I'm still learning how to use practical tools, perhaps, to help leaders who want to have a more independent lifestyle. Because oftentimes I see that the average journey of learning, iterating, and moving forward may take 2 years, even longer sometimes. And it's oftentimes not an easy process for people to go through this uncertainty.
Yeah.
And so it's perhaps a time where we learn the most, but it's also a time of uncertainty. So how do we offer tools, approaches, services to help people along, and to provide them? Maybe it's only a sounding board, and maybe that's all that's needed. Maybe it's a listening ear that asks, the right questions along the way. And but how can we help people along in this journey to perhaps reduce the pain and increase the joy of learning through that process?
Yes, I love that. I love that. And count with me. I'm happy to cooperate with you. And yes, and be helpful wherever I can, because I want the same as you want. At the end, it's for people to be who they are and create what they love, and to know that it's so beautiful, and so empowering, and it's so uniting, and it's a different world when you live in this, in your heart, and with passion of not knowing what comes. No, for me, it's I love to be in the unknown, to really don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy every moment with what comes, and every moment is a surprise.
Yeah.
It's a
But
joy.
even that takes practice of being
Yeah.
able to lean into the discomfort
Yes,
and enjoy
100%.
it.
I wasn't like this. I'm an engineer. So, and a German school, It took me many years, yes, but it's true. I think as we have been through that, we can share tools, and we can support many others in walking their way into it. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
I will write to you separately and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Reza.
Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you for the opportunity to co-create with you and to chat and to share energy.
Thank you. Thank you.